Hello and welcome back to the stream. Today is Sunday. It is December 15th. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. My name is Angela and I'm coming to you from a cold, wet, rainy, icy St. Paul, Minnesota. Extremely overcast and dreary. And I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to have you here. So today we are going to continue working on a website for yours truly. The goal for the rest of this year, the rest of this month, is to just continue working on a website for myself, which we got deployed 2 weekends ago. So let's go look at it. I haven't pushed this to production yet, the work that we did yesterday. I didn't push to production yet. So she's still on Heroku. We worked on the home page yesterday. We added this section with a recent video, and then we worked on this section. And it still needs a little something. So this is still very much a work in progress, but I nevertheless am very, very happy to have something built and deployed to production because I learned very early on in my career that perfect is the enemy of done. Nothing will be perfect. You should never consider anything perfect. You should always consider something a continual work in progress. And H is here. Good afternoon. Hello, hello. So happy to have you here. I also had a message on Instagram from Monique. She wasn't able to join it. Please, can I also just tell you guys how adorable it is that you would reach out to me independent of the stream and apologize for not being in the chat. You will never know how much that warms my heart. So Monique reached out to me yesterday on Instagram saying that something unexpected had come up. It was her birthday. She had some family drop in to spend time with her. And of course, she should spend time with her family on her birthday. But she reached out to apologize for not being in the chat yesterday. And I just thought that that was so sweet. And it really warmed my heart. And of course, Monique, we wish you a happy birthday. Yeah, you guys are the best. I just love you so much. So, yeah, so back to the site. This is never going to be done. It's never going to be perfect, and it shouldn't be. I let my last website sit for years untouched, just because I had a job and I was not actively looking for, lead generation or picking up new clients, things like that. So I just let it go. And after, it didn't take long for it to be completely outdated and not representative at all of what I am currently capable of. And so this is still very much a work in progress, and I think it should always be a work in progress. I should always be using this as a place where I can experiment with my own ideas. I can implement the things that I want to do that nobody else will ever ask me to do. And I have a lot of things that I want to work on in 2025 in terms of this site. But just to have this initial design done, this homepage done, to have this deployed to the production domain name and server just makes me so happy. So we're going to continue to work on this through the end of December, and then starting January, I want to get back to just really building UIs. That's what I want the streams to be. I mean, that's what we've been doing all along. I think some streams have been a little more JavaScript heavy, and that is completely fine. It was also very eye-opening to me that that's, again, something that I need to focus on for 2025. However, YouTube on the back end of my channel is like telling me every single day, hey, people are looking for help with HTML and CSS. That's something that people are really looking for on YouTube. And that's the thing that I am the best at. So I want to get back to building out this library of wireframes because I have this huge collection of wireframes that I've gathered from over the years. And I want these streams to be getting back to those basic core HTML, CSS, and then, JavaScript for DOM manipulation, DOM manipulation and user enhancement. So that's my primary focus for the first part of 2025 is to get back to that. And I'm really looking forward to it because it's the thing that I am most confident doing and I enjoy the most. And yeah, I love being able to share that with people. So okay, today we are going to build a second page for this site and we're going to use Formspree. I signed up for a free version of Formspree. Let me get this. Let's see here. Get this a little bigger here. Oh, and Monique is here. She's in the chat. Looks good. Great to follow the process from layout to design and coding. We are going to use Formspree. I signed up for the free version of Formspree, which allows, I think, 50 submissions per month. I don't really rely on forms on my personal website for lead generation. I'm not actively out looking for new freelance clients or contract work, but I do like having a form on my website. And I think 50 a month, I don't know if I even had 50 in a year on my last website. So I think 50 a month is fine. There are some things that you have to have a paid plan to do, like a custom redirect, things like that. But they do have, let's see here, they have workflows, which is the default workflow, which is basically that you get an email anytime somebody sends a submission. There are some settings here that, like, you can build templates, you can do a custom redirect. I did enable the CAPTCHA, and there's the Form Shield machine learning spam filtering that scans submissions for spam before they reach your inbox. Yeah, I mean, yes, please. We want that. Submissions, we don't have any yet. Integration. So they have lots of ways to do integration. Okay, and I don't want to use any of these other things here. I just want to do, they've got file uploads. We have to have a paid version, form button. We're just going to use the HTML version here with the action URL. What else was I going to say? It was on the tip of my tongue. Oh, on the home page, because let me see here. Let's go to get started. Oh, really? Okay, hang on one second here while I sign in. Hang on, register. No, sign in. How am I not already signed in? So the question that I had is, I want to show you here, these name parameters. So in my experience, anytime you're using, so I'm going to use Salesforce as an example because that's what we use where I work. And this name attribute is really important because this is the part of the Salesforce API that basically connects this data, this incoming data, to the CRM. So I was looking all over earlier today. I was like, well, where's your API? Where's the API? Where's like the list of name attributes? And I want to show you what I found because I thought it was pretty cool. Really, every time I click that, it's going to make me sign in again. Okay. I feel like I'm a dog that's getting trained right now not to click a button. So I'm not going to click that button again. But I need to find the thing that I want to show you. Forms, account, where are you? Help, form, maybe it's the form library. HTML forms. Okay. I'm just going to tell you the thing that I learned from the page that I cannot find, which is that they do not have a set of values that are predetermined. Basically, their documentation said that for any submission, they will look for the name attribute and they will save the data associated with that name attribute. So we can, for example, name email anything we want. We can name text area anything we want. If we want one field for a name, we can do that. If we want two fields for the name, we can do first name, last name, and those name attributes can be anything we want them to be, because Formspree is simply looking for data associated with that name, and then it will save those values. So we're just going to go ahead and take this form to get started. This is email and message. I actually would like to do, if we just look at like some examples of contact forms, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do name, email address, phone number, and inquiry. Oh, but you know what? I didn't check to see. And so I do want, what do I want? I want name to be required. I want email to be required. Phone number can be optional, but I think message needs to be required. If I got a name and an email address and nothing else, what would I do with that data? So I need people to for sure do name, email address, and message as required fields. Phone number can be optional, and then we will just set those required fields obviously in the HTML, and then I'll show you how I test that to make sure that people cannot submit that data. So first, we need, in order to have a second page on this site, we are going to use MAMP. Let's see here, where are we? And right before I started streaming, I realized I did not set up MAMP yet. I didn't even download it yet. So we're going to do it together. Yeah, I had it on my last computer and I completely forgot to download it. So we're going to do it now. It's pretty easy. Hopefully I don't eat my words. So let's see here. Applications. And if you use MAMP, they're always going to try to sell you on the pro version, which is great, by the way. I used the pro version for many years when I was primarily doing WordPress development. I just don't have a need for it anymore. I do still take care of some WordPress websites. I have clients left over from my freelancing days, but I don't actively develop in WordPress. I find Live Server to be sufficient for almost everything I do at this point. However, I'm going to use MAMP because I want to do some basic PHP templating, which I think is just really useful and kind of a time saver and keeps you from having to repeat a lot of your work. So I wanted to show you guys how I do that. And MAMP mimics that local environment. My favorite server setup is a LAMP stack: Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. I think it is one of the most basic server setups out there. For sure inexpensive. If you went over to DigitalOcean and set up a LAMP stack droplet, I think it's $5 or $10 a month. Now you have to do all the work to set that up, and well, they'll do the basic setup, but anything beyond a basic LAMP stack setup, you are responsible for the setup and the upkeep of that. But if you're a new developer or you want to learn how to do that, that is a great entry into DevOps. Setting up a little Apache server, learning Linux, understanding how to traverse that system, adding multiple domain names to one spot, one IP address, and setting up multiple host names. It's fantastic experience. I recommend every front-end developer learn how to do that. It will serve you so well in your career. So MAMP sort of mimics that environment locally. And yeah. Hang on. One second here while I okay. Sure. Okay. Oh, whoops, that was the downloader. Hang on. There we go. All right, here we are. Let me close these. Can I make this bigger? No. Okay. So the name by default is localhost. The document root is applications mamp htdocs. So this would be applications mamp htdocs. I generally add this to my sidebar, which doesn't move it from its location, but gives me a little easier access. You can choose your server between Apache or Nginx. I always do Apache, but I think Nginx is fine if you want to learn that. And I try to do, it's pretty good about giving you the two most recent, I think, stable versions of PHP. So I'm just going to do the pre-selected one, and then we'll go ahead and do start. So we're starting the server. And there are some other options we can look at. And then this is now opening up localhost. So, and there's this index.php file here. So it's loading this index.php file. But let's actually turn this off and look at some of the preferences. Because this, I'm going to change this URL structure here. So if we go to preferences, when starting MAMP start servers, I usually don't do that. When quitting MAMP stop servers, yes. Open the web start page, no. Ports, I usually do, the MAMP default is 8888. I usually do 80 and 3306. Server, MySQL Server 8, yes. I don't anticipate using MySQL, but you never know. I might need to install WordPress locally. I don't have any WordPress sites installed locally at this point. And I'm not worried about, we're not doing anything in the cloud. Everything's going to be local. So the main thing I do is I reset the ports to 80 and then 3306 for MySQL. And I generally like to start the server myself. I don't have a good explanation for that. It's just what I do. Yes, check for updates. No, I don't need the web start page. So let's go OK. And now I'm going to start the server again. Okay, so now the server is started. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to take my portfolio, which I think is right here, And I'm going to drag this right into htdocs. So now if I go to localhost, if we go to localhost, wait a second, portfolio. There we go. So now we are using MAMP to run portfolio. And now, so I'm going to close, this is Heroku, we'll close this. This is an example of a form. This is our action URL, our post request, our post method. And oh yeah, it doesn't like that I did that. Sorry, VS Code, I forgot about you. There. So now I will reopen. Okay, so there are some things that I did to my files specific to Heroku that we are going to undo a little bit for this. So I renamed the home to home.html, and then I did index.php with an include because that is what Heroku needs. We're actually going to rename all of our files index.php, and we're going to use a traditional folder structure. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename this index.php. And now this is the root of our website. So the server is looking for something in the root, the designated root, which is index. And then yes, and I'm confirming that this still works. We're still looking for the root. So I want a contact form now. So I'm going to make a folder called contact. And inside my folder, I'm going to make I'm going to add a file, another file called index.php. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this information into this page. Oops. So now we can go to portfolio/contact. Oh, and we need to change our, it's looking for, see on this page it's looking for that. And we don't have the auto reload anymore, right? Because we're not using live server. And so there's some things here. This is one of the things about, once you start to really build a site out, you learn all about relative and absolute links. So, and we can do some of that with PHP, but our images aren't loading anymore because the path is different. So we will want to account for that, although we're not going to have a header on this page. So we're loading our CSS. Let's go ahead and set up our, I have to think about this for a second, because we want we can do an absolute path. We might want to set like a base URL, but that is going to be, you know what? Every page can have its own head. That's fine. What I really care about is the header and navigation. That's what I really care about for the templating. So let's do another folder here called, I'm going to just call this head. And I'm going to put in a folder, I'm going to put in a file called header.php. And I'm going to take this right here and put it in header.php. And we'll save this. And now, right here, we can do PHP, include once. This is ... slash, so we're going up one and out, and then we're looking in head/header.php. So that's our include. So now, if we need to make any changes to the header, we do it in one spot and we include it on every page. So let's go back, and you can see here on the contact page, our header is still loading. So let's do the same thing. We can take this and we can put it on our index page, but it's going to be a little different because the path is a little different. So we'll put this in. It's not ... it's just dot to indicate the current root is the root of the site. So now we can go back to the home page, and boom, now we have a header loading on both pages, but we have it in one spot with the PHP include. So again, this is just a very, very basic way to handle some easy templating, and this comes in really, really handy when you have a header, a footer, and navigation, especially if you have like kind of, I mean, not even, I want to say big or complex navigation, but that's not even true. Any navigation where the navigation could change, you have submenus, anything that could change. If you manually put that on every single page, you have to change that on every single page every single time. This is just a convenient way to not have to worry about doing those things. Where it gets a little weird sometimes, and I've done lots of complicated things in the past that definitely work, are with the head. So for now, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to keep the head on every single page, because depending on the pages and the page structure, the link to the CSS, and then if you have JavaScript in the footer, the link to the JavaScript in the footer, the path is different depending on what page you're at or how deep you are into the site. And you can do something called a base URL, and I've done this thing in the past where I've done like, I've written JavaScript to like check the window location and get the current URL and set the path based on if you're in a local environment or on your server or your dev environment. We could definitely do that. But here's another consideration. Title tags and descriptions. Not only do you have a unique URL for a link to your CSS file, but you also presumably want to have title tags and descriptions that are unique on every page. So we do not have a complex set of head data here. I am perfectly fine letting every single page have its own head. We can make sure then that every single link, because that's not going to change, has the correct link to the style sheets or to the JavaScript. And then we have a way to do unique title tags and descriptions for good SEO for every page. And I'm not going to get too much into that today. I am definitely not an SEO expert, but I have a good level of SEO understanding, and my search engine optimization approach is that you have good, clean, semantic HTML, that you understand the hierarchy of a page, that you understand how to make sure that you're using body tags, header tags, main, footer, section, wrapping your images in figure tags, making sure that you are accessible and you're honoring H1, H2, H3. If you have good semantic HTML and a good flow and hierarchy for your page, you are so far ahead of the game when it comes to SEO, you don't even know. I've seen absolute trash websites where people don't care at all about good semantic HTML5 and they wonder why they can't get good SEO or get good search results. And I'm telling you, it starts at this level right here. But it also really helps to have an opportunity to write good, unique title tags and descriptions. And as I build more pages, I will show you how I do that. And also you can Google it because there's a lot of information out there on that. And if you even just pay a little bit of attention to stuff like that, you will be so far ahead of the game. So, okay, so now we have our contact page and our root level homepage. Let's also put, well, I don't even think we really have a footer at this point. Let's just go ahead and put in some static data. So we'll just say copyright. 2024, which we should probably do a dynamic date, and we will. And then let's put my name. And then this will be our footer. So I'll take this and we'll do include once. And I'm going to change the name of that from head to just includes probably. So footer.php. So there's our footer. And then let's change this name to includes. And then let's change this to includes. And let's change this. Oh, this is just one dot. Whoop. Let's go here. All right. Oh, where's our footer? And let's make sure we have a couple of what does it say here? I think I screwed up the include once. Where are we? This is the contact page. So this does need a dot dot. And this is the index page. This just needs one dot. There we go. So here's our copyright statement. There we go. And there's our copyright statement there. So we'll make sure that we give that a little bit of styling. And then let's change this from, this just links out as a mail to. I mean, we can definitely change this link then to point to the contact page. So let's do that now. So we can do that in our header file, which is right here. So I'll go ahead and change this. So this would be, I'm just going to say that this would be contact slash, I'm just going to do, I think this will work. So if we're on the home page. Nope, hang on. I'm so used to live server. There we go. So now we link to the contact page. So let's make sure then that this links back to the home page. And H is asking me a question. How did you master semantic HTML? I mean, practice, lots of building websites. Yeah, practice. Just I've built so many websites at this point, written a lot of HTML. I really recommend that you take the approach of taking a mock-up and just building out all of your HTML from top to bottom. And a lot of the videos that I've live streamed demonstrate the best way to do that. And so you can buy a mock-up, you can Google free mock-ups and just go from top to bottom. Make sure that you're always using things like a header. Make sure that you're always using tags like footer. Make sure that the main body of your design, the main body of your content is using main. Understand when do you use a section, when do you use a figure tag, things like that. Let's see here. MDN HTML5. Structuring the web with HTML. Do something like this. I mean, there's so much amazing free content out there. In my opinion, MDN is like the gold standard of documentation. It is so good. Right here, complete beginner, start here. I don't know what your level of understanding is. Based on the questions that you're asking, it makes me think that you're in the beginning of your career. You're at the beginning of your journey. So if you're looking for ways to master HTML or really understand, do something like this. But there is no substitute for practice. Just good old-fashioned practice and repetition. If you see a website you like, copy it, build it. Just anything that involves you putting your hands on a keyboard, building things is what you need to do to get good at it. No substitute for that. Tutorials and videos and people like me, we all have our place, but I will never be a substitute for you just sitting down and doing it. So I can't recommend that enough. If you're looking for a way to get, let's see here, free, what would we say? Free website mockups. Mockup world. I mean, the best free mockups from the web. So I don't know. I feel like something like this would be, oh, this might be a little bit different. This is a lot of, let's see here. Free mockup, browse free mockups. No Photoshop mockups, paper and books. There's got to be web, MacBook, iMac. Okay, this might be something different. Let's see. Free website mockups, PSD. I mean, look at stuff like this is great. Although these are different types of mockups, aren't they? These are the type that are, I would call it like more marketing focused, right? Pinterest. Let's see here. Yeah, Monique, you are right there with me. Nothing beats practice. You will develop muscle memory. You will make mistakes along the way, but you will learn, and that's the goal. Yes, there is no substitute for practice, just good old-fashioned practice. Pinterest is a great website mockups. Yeah, I go to Pinterest and look for something like this. Even if it's like kind of what I would call like a low fidelity wireframe without pictures and images. Look at something like this and just start building it. Just go from top to bottom. A lot of the videos, a lot of the projects that I've done, well, every project that I've done starts this way, where we go from top to bottom. And before we even write a lick of CSS, we get all of our HTML down first. So that is the best way to do it. And I think that that's the approach that is recommended. But check out that MDN, check out that Mozilla HTML tutorial. So many amazing free resources out there. Really, really incredible. So, but yeah, for search engine optimization, there is just, do not underestimate the power of good semantic HTML, good title tags and descriptions. I know that it is incredibly complex and there's a lot to it, but I've just seen a lot of really horrible websites where people were spending lots of money for good SEO when the underlying foundation of the site itself was just a dumpster fire. So, but you know, there's no convincing a lot of people there's no convincing people sometimes. So let's do, actually for this, I'm just going to do a slash for the root domain, but I do want a way to be able to navigate between the pages. So let's see. And we'll have to write a little CSS here. That's fine. So now we're on the contact page. Oh, and okay, we got to get back to, yeah, it's treating, oh, we need to do, yeah, I neglected to fully think this through. Usually I set the base URL. Should we just go ahead and do that? I usually just set the base URL. How did I used to do this? Let's just do this. Localhost. We're going to have to change this when we deploy. I don't really want to do this though. I gotta think about this for a second. I don't want to do this because that won't work on the home page. This will take me to contact, even if I'm on the contact page. Let's consult ChatGPT. It's been a while since we pulled out ChatGPT. Okay. So I'm using MAMP for my static website. I decided to make my header and navigation separate files that I include once on each page. Right now, I have 2 pages. The first is index.php in the root, and the second is in a folder called contact/index.php. What do you recommend so I can easily navigate and set up my links? Hopefully ChatGPT understands this. Yeah, it knows. Okay, good. Yeah, it does want us to set. Okay, this is good. Oof, I like it. Okay. To make clearly, we are not the first person to ask this question. To make navigation and links work smoothly in your setup, you'll need to consider relative paths and consistency for include once statements and links. Here's a recommended approach. Create a config.php file in your project root and define a base URL constant. This helps ensure your links and includes are consistent across pages. All right. So update this to your site root if necessary. So our site root is localhost/portfolio. Include the config in every page. At the top of every PHP file, including index.php and contact/index.php, include the config.php. Okay, got it. Standardize header and navigation includes. Put your header.php and navigation.php in a dedicated folder like partials in the root of your project. Use include once to include them on every page using an absolute path based on the server document root. Okay, so far so good. Example, including the header and navigation. Yep. Use absolute URLs for links. Use the base URL constant to construct your navigation links. This ensures the links work regardless of the page's location in the directory structure. So we would use echo base URL. Okay. Test your setup. Open both in, okay. Optional, use htaccess for clean URLs. For better URLs like contact, instead of contact/index.php, you can use htaccess if Apache is enabled in MAMP, which it is. Okay, so now I want to know if I deploy this to Heroku, will it continue to work as expected? So deploying your PHP-based static website to Heroku with the setup described will generally work, but there are a few adjustments you need to make to ensure compatibility with Heroku's environment. PHP support on Heroku. Heroku can run PHP applications, but it needs a composer.json file or an index.php file in the root directory to recognize the app as a PHP project, which we have. Since you already have an index.php file, Heroku will detect your app as PHP. Okay. Heroku require composer.json for PHP apps. Even if you're not using Composer for dependencies, you can create a minimal file. Okay. And then update paths for Heroku. Heroku's environment serves your files from the application root. Your base URL constant from config.php will need to be updated to match this structure. So I think if you deploy the app as a subdirectory under a custom domain like example.com/myapp, you can update the base URL accordingly. Okay, well, actually, Heroku serves from the root directory. So this would have to be different based on, because in MAMP, the root directory is localhost, but Heroku, it would just be a slash. But I feel like we could, hang on. I know we can do this. Can I write a condition to check the URL to set the base URL? If I'm on MAMP, the URL is localhost/portfolio, but on Heroku, the root is slash. Let's see what I know we can. Okay, so yes, you can absolutely write a condition in PHP to check the current URL or server environment and set the base URL dynamically. This approach is practical when deploying to different environments like MAMP with a subdirectory and Heroku root directory. Here's how you can do it. I mean, how did I used to do this? I used to do this all the time, and I've never had to do this before. I mean, I just can't remember how I used to do this. I feel like I used to use JavaScript. Let's see here. MDM base. Because there is a base tag in HTML. The document base URL element. And I used to use JavaScript and the window.location. I would just use the window API in vanilla JavaScript to check the location and set the base URL. And then I think I would just set the base URL for every page. I'm sure I know that's how I used to do it. You can use the server HTTP host or server name to differentiate between local and deployed environments. So in config, check if running on localhost. Yeah, I mean, let's do this. Use a custom environment variable option. If you want more control, especially for multiple environments, you can set a custom environment variable. For example, in Heroku, you can define an environment variable like app environment equals production. So environment equals get environment, app environment. If it's the default to local, if the variable is not set. If the environment is local, let's just do so let's do this right here. Yeah. And it looks like Bailey has joined the chat. Bailey, how are you? It's so good to see you again. We are happy to have you. Let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll set up our base URLs, and I think that's going to work really well for us. So let's go ahead and put in a config.php. And then we'll test it. We'll go ahead and deploy and we'll test it. So, okay. So here's our config. Now let's go back up here. I'm not going to worry about htaccess for now. Okay, we'll go ahead and put in a composer. So this ensures your app uses PHP 8 or later on Heroku. Adjust the version if needed. Totally fair. We'll set up htaccess later. We'll set our absolute URLs for the links in a moment. So we have our header and our footer in a file called includes. We want to make sure that we include the config on every page at the top. So we'll do this next. So we have this page and this page. All right. This is already done. Now we're going to include once. Yeah. All right, so this is our root domain right here. So now let's go to the contact page. Wait, did I do the right one? No, footer. All right, here goes nothing. No, okay, what do we do? Oh, I forgot localhost. I think we forgot to say localhost. Right here, we have to say localhost. Do we need a slash there? Let's see here. Localhost portfolio content. So the base URL is localhost/portfolio. And I'm going to close these. Did I spell it wrong? No. Check if running on localhost. Do I need to like restart the server? Let's try it. I don't know. Because it's not changing. Like I changed it, but it's not changing here. So it's still looking for it in the old location, which makes me feel like sometimes you have to restart the server when you make changes like that. But I don't know. Okay, why aren't you... if I updated you... okay, well I know this is... Yep, we have our config.php. So it's not changing the base URL. It's not changing it to localhost. See, this is working. No. Yes. No. Why isn't the base URL updating? Okay. The MAMP document, let's see here. The MAMP URL root is localhost/portfolio. I'm getting this error. Let's see here. Yeah, so hang on, Monique. I see your message. I will... Oh, it wants me to include portfolio here. Okay. Check the document root, MAMP's document root. Okay, well, I used the root that you gave me. Okay, so it wants me to change the document root to this, which I knew that was the document root. I was using what you told me to use, though. Oh. So it wants the full root here or up here? Correct the include. So you want me to include portfolio here? Okay, the errors you're encountering indicate that your include once paths are incorrect for your MAMP setup. Specifically, PHP cannot locate the files because the paths are being interpreted relative to the wrong directory. Relative versus absolute. Dynamic absolute paths. To build a dynamic absolute path, this points to the root of your server. Okay. Yes. Correct the include once paths. Update your include once statements to use the server document root. Okay, I'm just going to complain a little bit here to ChatGPT. Okay, I'm using the paths that you gave me initially. Are you now telling me they are wrong? You're right to ask. Let me clarify. The paths I provided initially are correct conceptually, but they need to be tailored to your specific directory structure and environment. Okay. MAMP's htdocs folder and your portfolio subdirectory. Got it. These paths assume that the document root points to your root applications MAMP htdocs. The included files are located directly under the root or the partials folder. Yes. In your case, portfolio site is in a subdirectory of htdocs. Yes, so applications, MAMP, htdocs, portfolio. Therefore, the document root will point to applications, MAMP, htdocs, but your files, config.php includes /header.php are in. Yes. So it's telling me to just modify this to include portfolio. Okay, that makes sense because it's looking in that path and it didn't change when I changed it. So this makes sense to me. I'm going to back this up here. Yeah. Okay. So it's telling me to include, I think just include portfolio here. So /portfolio. I think I have to do the same up here. Portfolio, I hope. Maybe. I don't know. Portfolio. Okay, so this is the... There we go. Okay, we're getting there. I think this needs to be... There we go. I mean, would it be a live stream if I wasn't scolding ChatGPT on bad information? No, it wouldn't. Port. Oh, stop, doc. Enough. Okay. Oh my God, I can't handle it. This doc. All right, so here is our root. Now we can go to our contact page. Yes. Okay. I mean, this is, I don't know if this is easier. I couldn't say if this is better or worse than the way I used to do it with JavaScript and setting the base URL. It's like anything, right? Once you get it figured out, once you get it figured out, then you're off and running. So we had to do it eventually, right? We had to figure it out eventually. So Monique, thank you for your sense of humor. I appreciate it. Emilio is here. It is kind of like class, isn't it? But it's terrifying that I'm the teacher. Can I just say, on days when I'm like scolding ChatGPT, it's I feel scared that I'm the teacher sometimes. So, okay. So now let's do our links. So here's our links. And remember, class, that these paths are conceptually correct. So let's go to our header. And where are we here? Yes, right here. And because this is a file with a .php, you can obviously put PHP tags right in here. So we'll do portfolio / index.php. And then we're going to do the same thing here. And we'll do /portfolio /contact. So here's the thing that kind of sucks though, is that on Heroku, it's not in a subdirectory called portfolio. See, this is why I used to use base. Yeah, this is why I used to use base, because I could set the root domain and I didn't have to do this. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now. Because when we deploy this to Heroku, the base URL is something different. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT about this. Okay, I updated the paths to include portfolio, but I don't think that will work on Heroku. Yeah, I know I'm right. Adding /portfolio to the paths work locally on MAMP because your app is in a subdirectory, but it won't work on Heroku. Dynamic path resolution. Use directory name file or directory in combination with relative paths to calculate paths dynamically regardless of the server's root. Update includes in index.php. Why this works. So include once dir. Adjust to your actual config path. Why this works. dir is a PHP magic constant that always points to the directory of the current file. It avoids relying on server document root, which changes based on the server configuration, like MAMP versus Heroku. Setting a dynamic base URL. For links and navigation, you can still use the base URL method, but make it dynamic. So here's the updated config. Okay. Why this works on both MAMP and Heroku. Okay. I don't care about htaccess right now. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there, class. We are getting there. So I think this is the same. Just in case. Yeah, that's the same. And then this is different. And then this is the includes for the header. Where are we on? We're on the root. So here's the, nope, where are we? Here's our contact page. Here's our, there we go. All right, here goes nothing. Let's see here. Hang on, I just want to make sure I didn't do something wrong. Well, they're both say contact, so. Okay, so the home page is working. Yep, the home page is working. The contact page. Oh. Yeah, the contact page. Well, let's see. What did I do? So here's the contact page. Yep, our config. I wonder if I need to. I feel like my path on the inner page might be wrong. Okay. This works on the home page, but not the contact page. Yeah, that's what I thought. For your contact page, directory resolves to portfolio/contact. To fix this, use directory name directory to always go up to the root folder dynamically. Right here, people. We're thinking. We're using our big brains right here. So on the inner pages, again, I think, yeah, Monique, I think so. I don't have a delay on the stream. YouTube just like naturally has this 20-second delay. So if I am late, responding to something that you type in, or yeah, or that's the reason why. So still wondering about the paths on other pages. So you're absolutely right. That was the that for the inner pages, we have to do this directory name to get up one. So so instead of include once, we have to add this right here. We're so close. We're so close. So here's our, yep, our home page is still good. There we go. So now we just have to fix our, we did it. You guys, we did it. Yay. Okay. So now let's fix our links and we'll fix our images. So now so we know what to use here. Yes, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's a process, right? I really, I mean, I think you guys know what my position is on DevOps. This counts as DevOps. This type of problem solving, you may think to yourself, this is not my job. This is not my job as a front-end developer. And I'm here to tell you it kind of is. And the sooner you can embrace this type of DevOps, the better off you're going to be. It's just going to be it's going to make you so much more valuable. You don't really, it's hard for me to really even put into words how much more valuable it's going to make you as a front-end developer to have some basic understanding of these types of things. It's really, really going to help you. So, okay, so now we got to get back here and revisit our links. And I think that, let's see if this, well, what did it say to do for the URLs? Links work, they're built in using dynamic base URL. Okay, so does that mean we don't have to have portfolio? We'll take it out and see what happens. So now we have our links set in the header. So let's see if those work. Oh, and I screwed up. What did I do here? Yep, so that's right. And then can we go to the contact page? Look at that. And then back to the home page. It works. Oh, here we have a double slash there. We don't need this slash. And we don't need this slash. There we go. Got rid of that slash. Go to the contact page, got rid of that slash. You know, we'll deal with htaccess another time and clean up these index.phps. I don't really care about that. Yeah, there's value in cleaning that up, but it's not technically wrong. It's not a bug. I know some people consider it to be a little ugly, but it's how the internet works. The browser is looking for a file called index in the directory. That's how it knows what to display. So we could put a bunch of files in here and just say index.php, contact.php, you know, portfolio.php. The value of having a folder with an index is that you don't have the index.php. So we'll put in an htaccess and clean that up another time. I really don't care about it now. So okay, so now we have URLs that are correctly working. So this means that we can echo the base URL for our images. So let's do that next. So let's do Well, do we need a hero? I don't think we really need a hero on the contact page though. So let me see here. Okay, so here's our config. I don't need this anymore. Here's the contact page, but let's put in right here, see where it says dot images? That works because we are in the root. So let's, at least for the sake of demonstration, let's change this just so we can see. So if we do PHP, okay. And then we're doing echo base URL. Does that still work? If we go back to the, yes, this still works right there. And then we'll do it again here. So now we have relative image paths. So we could put this, oh, wait a second, we're on the contact page. I checked the wrong page. There we are, contact page, images, working. Beautiful. There's an image. There's an image. We're technically not going to use these on the contact page, but I just want to see everything working. There we go. Nice. So how long did that take? Okay, I've been streaming for about almost an hour and a half. And now we've learned how to do something completely new in regards to our templating. We've learned that we can create relative URLs that are going to work in a local environment and in a production environment, or a server. We'll just call it a server, but this will work whether we're on Heroku or in the production server on DigitalOcean. It also works in our local environment on Map. We have a path for our images. We have a path so we can keep files contained, and we only need to change them once. I mean, this is absolutely worth an hour and a half of our time to set us up for all future development projects. So we learned something new today. This is really, really cool. So, okay. Here is our home page. So we'll set our paths here as well. And then on the contact page, I'm actually going to take out almost all of this, and let's just copy and paste in our form. Well, we want to hang on to our social media icons, which we can create a partial for those as well. So let's do a section, local class, contact, and then where is our form? We are just going to put in, we're just going to start with the HTML they gave us because I really want to get this deployed to Heroku to make sure everything works. And then let's do another partial for our social media icons. We'll call this social.php. And there we go. So now we're going to do pretty much this. Social, and we'll do the same thing here. And let's make sure everything is working. Yes, everything. Well, let's refresh. Okay, here's our contact page, which doesn't have anything, but our also our form isn't really showing. That's fine. Wait a second. And then let's go back to our home page. What did I do here? Oh, I'm on the, hang on. There we go. Let's double check our links. So the home page is always going to have a different path because it's already in the root directory. Our contact page is always telling this include to go up one. Portfolio contact. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now we can go back and forth. So there's our contact. There's our portfolio. Okay. Whew. I need a nap. This can be exhausting sometimes. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and commit our work and get this deployed to staging. I really want to see this working on Heroku before I go any further. So let's and then we'll go ahead and work on our form. So we'll do git add, git commit, and using PHP to create template includes and set base URL. Git push origin staging. Whoops. Git push origin staging. There we go. All right. Emilio, thank you. Looking great so far. And Emilio can't wait to start coding next week. I left my laptop keyboard at home and a touchscreen is not going to do it. No, probably not. And Emilio, I think you said that you got a new laptop. Congratulations on that. You said that a few weeks ago, so I hope you're enjoying that. I got a new MacBook Pro a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I've had the same MacBook Pro. Excuse me. I've had the same MacBook Pro since 2015. And I also have an iMac. And the MacBook Pro couldn't handle the streaming and the iMac was not, I wanted to love the iMac, but I really ended up not loving the iMac. I just wanted another MacBook Pro, so I'm happy I went back to that. So I hope you're enjoying your computer. Let's make sure that everything got deployed. Yeah, it looks like it. Here's the test. Oop. What happened here? Failed to deploy. Why didn't it deploy? Let's see here. Okay, let's Hang on one second. Let's log into Heroku and see what the problemo is. Heroku login. Let's see here. I'm running out of ports to do this. I think I can turn off this monitor. Or can I? Okay, I don't have my... I need a thing. I don't have my thing to authenticate and log into Heroku. So for some reason, the deployment failed on Heroku, and I don't have my key to log into Heroku. So I may have to solve that problem on my own offline. So, but are we surprised? Is anybody here surprised that it didn't work? I mean, I hate to be a pessimist, but this is just how things go sometimes. So, okay. Well, this is why we have staging environments. This is the reason why you don't ever go from a local environment to a production server without going to staging first and figuring out what you need to do to get things right. So this is exactly why we do it this way. So I usually log into Heroku before I start the stream, and I forgot today. So I'm going to solve that problem offline, and then once I figure out what it was that Heroku didn't like about our setup, I'll let you guys know next weekend. But I stand by that this was an important part of the process. It really, really was. It was an important part of the process, and it was something that I wanted to learn how to do. So because setting the base URL, I mean, I did at one point, I know I got that working. It wasn't even that long ago. It was a couple years ago I worked on a project where I built everything out as a static website. I used PHP and I used JavaScript to set the base URL, and that did work. But there was a reason why it was consistently kind of a pain in the ass. I don't remember what though. So I do like this method better. And Emilio is saying, I got a yoga book i9 and it's weird, but it works. But if I leave the keyboard at home, it's useless. Yeah, MacBook Pros are pretty amazing. It was, they are also really, really expensive, which is why I had the same one for 9 years. If you happen to be in the market for a MacBook Pro, and you have a .edu email address, whether you're a faculty, staff, or student, you can get the education discount through apple.com, which I was going to do, but then we also have a Micro Center here in Minneapolis, and Micro Center ended up having a really, really great deal on their MacBook Pros. The only thing that I didn't get that I wanted was a 2 terabyte hard drive. The one that I wanted, like the one that I got, has a 1 terabyte hard drive, and it has all of the specs that I wanted. I wish it had the 2 terabyte, but it's fine. We're fine. It's all fine. So, okay. So let's go ahead and work on our form. And let's see here. So our form is not actually showing up on the page. Let's see what's going on. Oh, it's up behind. Got it. Yes. Well, and my 9-year-old MacBook Pro was 512. And I remember back in when I bought my first MacBook Pro, it was my first Mac. I got it in November 2015. It had a 500 gig hard drive, and I thought that that was amazing. I was like, and so I had an external drive also for extra files, things like that. But I thought 500 gigs was great. Like I had no complaints about that at all. So, okay. So our form is here. It's just sort of hidden behind our header. So let's go ahead and get our styles pulled up. So let's do a style sheet just for forms. Okay, you're in the wrong one. Forms.scss. And we'll add this here. And then let's make sure that we are compiling. And I think we're going to want to make sure. So we'll probably want to make sure that our main section, since our header is fixed and the height of the header is 118 pixels, which that is a dynamic value. We didn't set the height of the header. Let's make sure though that we're, I guess, pushing the main down with some padding. And we can do that here because I don't really think. Yeah, so we haven't written any style specific to main. There's main, display block, and normalize. So I'm comfortable doing this. So we'll just say padding. I'm just going to say 150 pixels on the top, and I'm not going to say anything on the left or the right. And we don't have our live refresh anymore. Let's see here. Oh, let's see, what don't you like? Okay. Oh, I bet our links are, no, our links are right. And Emilio is heading out. Yes, happy to have you catch up on those streams. We had a fun little conversation on Friday about front-end development. Thank you so much, Emilio, for joining us. I love having you here. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let's see here. Oh, do we need to, but I know the CSS is loading. I mean, we're getting a response. not getting any errors. It's main class main, section contact. The CSS is loading. We know the form is there because we can see it. I mean, it's obviously not compiling. Okay, here it is. It's in the compiled version. Styles. Here's our response. Yeah, it's not loading it here. Why isn't it loading it? Do we have more than one? Good evening. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Roman. Thank you for joining us. So let's put in our dynamic. Let's just put in our dynamic. No. And it's just styles.css. Nope, that's not working at all. It's not in a folder. But it's clearly not compiling. Oh, let me. And it's not showing up here at all. So, Oh, but as a link, it's not an include. Got it. It's this. It's echo base URL. That's why. Okay, so now we're loading it again. Why is main not coming through? So this is clearly not compiling. Am I going insane? It's not part of the path. That's an excellent question. I know that it's linking. So I know that it's linking because we're getting a 200 status code. It's a GET request. And when I check the network tab here, it's linking. The problem is that I'm making changes and it's not compiling. And it's here, styles.css. It's here, localhost portfolio styles. Is it linking to the right thing? Hang on. Delete. Save. Now we have new files. Oh, caching. What does it say here? It's saying memory caching. Memory cache. Okay, at least there's an explanation. So, oh, gosh darn it. Disable cache. Disable the cache. Disable the cache. Okay. Embrace the pain, people. This is what I'm talking about. Embrace the suffering. Web development is a giant pain in the ass sometimes, but once you make these mistakes, you probably won't make them again. There's a little button here in network that says disable cache. So now when we refresh, it disables the cache and it fetches the file. It's the life of a developer. Okay. Here we go. Oh man, what a shit show. God bless it. I love it though. I do. I still love it. Okay. Where are we doing? So, would you hold it against me if I really didn't feel like styling this form for the rest of the day today? Because it's been 2 hours and we've done a lot. And hopefully if you take anything away from this, it's that um, it's that DevOps is important and how your local environment is set up. You always have to consider where the files go after you're done working on them, right? So DevOps is important. Hopefully another of your takeaways is that sometimes things don't work. And there's just so many things about the browser, nuances, caching, that are important problem solving tools. I don't know any other way to put it. I think that we got a lot done today. I'm for sure happy with the fact that we figured out our includes. We figured out how to set our base URLs and links. We figured out how to include the files. Not sure what's happening on Heroku. I will definitely get that figured out when I'm done with the stream because I need to go find my other key so I can log into that server, which I don't have handy right now, and see what the problem is. And I will report back to you guys next weekend and let you know, because hopefully my wish is that one or some of you are doing this on your own. You're setting up maybe a little bit of simple, straightforward templating. Maybe you're deploying to Heroku. You're doing an automatic deployment from GitHub, and that you're starting to experiment with some of these workflows. I would, if you're doing that and you're experimenting with this and you're trying to do some of these things on your own, I would love to hear about it. So if you're doing some of this, I would love to hear about it and hear about your experience and just, see how things are going. And I know I've already said it 100 times, but I'm going to say it again. These types of skills are going to serve you really, really well once you start working as developers. If you're not already, once you start working as developers, this is going to serve you really, really well. So, yeah, I think I'm going to call it a day. It's been 2 hours, and I feel like this is a lot. And I keep hitting the microphone. I do want to figure out why the build failed on Heroku. I think it might be because of this composer file, but I'm not sure. Heroku's pretty good about their error handling. So let's update this URL on this page as well. And so hopefully you saw that the style sheet issue didn't even have anything to do with our files. That was just the browser caching the previous file and not fetching the newest version of the file. So, which that happens all the time. Browsers do that all the time because they're trying to be efficient. At the very least, I do want to get this all pushed up to GitHub. So if you guys want to go take a look at these files, you can. You're absolutely welcome to. Let's see. All right. minutes. Let's go to GitHub. Let's see what it says. As if it would magically work. I mean, it's possible, right? Yeah, and if anybody decides to use Formspree, I would love to hear what their experience is. I will make sure that we get... so I mean, if we're going to continue working on forms next weekend, I actually think it would be good to do another mock-up for the form styles. And I really want to prioritize just writing CSS next week. What did we do yesterday? I'm trying to remember what we did yesterday. I think we just worked on improving the homepage styles, and we added that section yesterday. Yeah, Roman, absolutely. So Roman is saying maybe you know who can look at my work for a portfolio, any sites or chats I'm practicing with HTML, CSS, JS. Thanks. Absolutely. So I also told Lena that I would do a portfolio, a code review for her as well. So Roman, I don't know if you had a chance to join the Discord server. If you want to join the Discord server, the link is in I don't think I have it in the description of the video, but I have it in the description on the main About section on my channel page. If you want to send me a link to a GitHub portfolio or a link through Discord, I would be happy to take a look at your portfolio and do a code review for you. I am a little bit behind on content because I also have a full-time job. But I have some time off coming up, and I want to start doing code reviews for the people who have asked, because I think that is so fun, and I love doing that. And I would be more than happy to look at your site and offer suggestions, especially if you've been practicing. I think about the value of what it was like when I was a new developer to have a more experienced developer look at my code or give me feedback or just point me in the right direction. It is so valuable, and I would love to have that opportunity to do that for you as well. So if you want to join the Discord server and send me a link, we can chat there. I'm happy to do that. And I'm planning to do some content dedicated to code reviews here, but before the end of the year, so I can include yours as well. Yay, thank you for asking. I love that people ask for that type of feedback. It makes me so happy. Yeah, we failed. Okay, I'll figure out why this failed. Hopefully it's something straightforward. And I'll go ahead and stick it in Discord and let you guys know why. And if anybody out there is doing a similar setup for themselves, tell me about it. I would love to hear how it's going for you, what your experience is like. Whatever this is, I'll figure it out, because I think that this is I like this kind of a setup. The other thing that I would really like to do, because we're compiling our Sass, we should also really be compiling our JavaScript when we start writing JavaScript. I would love to get a grunt file, grunt.js. So I used to use grunt all the time, and grunt can also, you can put in a task runner for compiling Sass and compiling JavaScript, and minifying your JavaScript. So like, I don't see myself writing tons and tons of JavaScript for my site, but I mean, I think maybe by next year I could be adding a lot more functionality, like maybe pulling in an Instagram API, or maybe doing a blog and keeping it in a database and then pulling that in through an API. So that JavaScript can really start to add up, and using something like Grunt to compile the JavaScript and minify those files really helps with page load, and it's just a good idea. It's a good best practice. I used to use Grunt all the time, and then I kind of fell out of it. So I want to get back to using Grunt. So definitely look forward to more content like this, where we use some task runners. There's also, I think there's another one. I haven't used it, but I think there's also Gulp. And these are very similar. Grunt and Gulp are very similar. So, yeah, I would definitely like to start using Grunt again and come up with a config that would work. So to have a setup that works really well with some PHP includes, has some dynamic URL handling, right? And then we have a Grunt task runner that could take care of minifying and compiling our JavaScript, and honestly linting the JavaScript, right? And also compiling the Sass all at the same time. That would be pretty cool to have that be a nice little setup. And that would be, I mean, that's just a great setup for having a static website, in my opinion. So yeah, this stuff is fun. I think this type of stuff is fun. So we're gonna keep implementing these things as the year goes on, and I would encourage you guys to get out and experiment with these things, right? Like I can introduce you to these things. Like maybe you don't know what a task runner is, or you've never been introduced to that. Now you see me use it, and you guys get out and you try different things. Like maybe I use Grunt and you try Gulp, and you come up with your own config and what works for you, and you build a little template that works for all of your future projects. So yeah, I think it's super fun. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for me for today. We'll resume our styling next week. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are. Mwah. I love you all. Big virtual hug. Have a great week, and I will see you again next weekend. Bye.